several people who couldn't be here sent me notes asking us to record. Thank you all, fellow animal lovers that are here today. We are pleased to have somebody come from the ACC, the Animal Care Centers of New York City. We hope to have other shelters come and speak to us, including places like the ASPCA and the Best Friends Animal Society and the Humane Society. But AACC is the biggest one in New York City. So we wanted to start off with a presentation by them about the many ways that we can help animals. I think everyone knows it feels like, at least from all of the things that I read, it's a tough time right now for the shelters. There are a lot of animals that are homeless. It feels like many have been returned since the pandemic. You know, a lot of animals were taken into homes during the pandemic, and it seems like some of them, for I'm sure a variety of different reasons, have been returned since the pandemic. So it just feels like it's, from what I read, it's been a really tough time for all the shelters and all the animal support groups in the city in terms of needing our support. So we're very happy to have Paul Sanders here today. He's the Senior Administrator of Governmental and Community Affairs for the ACC. So now I'm going to turn it over to him and let him present to us. Paul?
All right, well, thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Happy to be here with you all today. I hope everyone, no matter what you were celebrating this month, has had a good season so far, and we're going to continue that right into 2024. As said, I am from Animal Care Centers in New York City, and we're going to have an overview of the services that we provide to members of the community here in New York City. There are opportunities for people to do different things to be involved with us. And there's also many things that we do to be involved with people in the city. If you have any questions, we will have a question and answer session at the end of the presentation. If you have any questions, please jot them down. Just note them down so we can answer them. I will do everything I can to answer everybody's question. I will always answer open and honestly.
One other thing, Paul, we can also put questions into the chat. So if you have questions during the presentation, put them into the chat and I'll be monitoring that.
Excellent. And I look forward to having a dialogue with you as well as the presentation. So this first slide here is an adoption event that we had in Manhattan. I understand that most of you are from the Bronx, so we will talk about Bronx-specific things and things we have coming up in the Bronx, but we are going to talk generally about the 5 boroughs and the stuff that ACC does. So this was an event that was in Manhattan a couple of weeks ago, actually, for mobile adoption. Our mobile team went out and did an adoption event. As you can see, we have some volunteers, members of the public, and that dog was adopted that day there. Generally, when you see anyone in teal, that's someone from ACC, whether a staff member or a volunteer. So that's what you'll see there. All right. So I'm going to do a couple of things. Then we're going to talk a little bit about ACC, our role in the community, opportunities to be involved, and how you can go about doing that, and question and answer session, like I said. Whoops. Oh, that's me. As Margie said, I am the Senior Administrator of Governmental and Community Affairs. That's a really fancy way of saying I do a lot of different things. Primarily, though, my job is I work with elected officials, but also I am in charge of the outreach teams, so doing things like this, as well as going out into the community in all 5 boroughs. And I'm in charge of the in-shelter volunteers in Staten Island. So that's generally the things that I do for ACC. But interesting, prior to coming to ACC, I actually ran an older adult center for 5 years before that. So I'm very happy to kind of return to roots today, talking to older adults about ways to be involved in the community, things like that. So I'm very happy, again, to be here with you all. So let's talk about ACC and who we are. So I'm sure some of you may have heard of us. Some of you may have thought we were the ASPCA, and that's a very common misconception. We work closely with the ASPCA, but we are 2 different organizations. We are the largest provider of animal welfare services to New York City. Now, the ASPCA is a larger organization, They are based in New York City, but they're national. So we are the largest provider of animal welfare services in New York City, and one in the entire Northeast US. We're one of the largest. We are a registered 501c3, which means we're a not-for-profit organization. We are not a city agency. So while we work with the city and we have a contract with the city to provide animal-related services to all 5 boroughs, we are not a city agency. We are under the auspices of the Department of Health with that contract. But by being a separate entity, we're able to do other things like fundraise for programs outside of our city contract, such as our community pets, which we'll talk about a little bit later. We are an open admission shelter. We do not turn away any animal that comes through our doors. And on average, we take in about 20,000 animals annually. Just the other day on Christmas, we took in 7. Even though we were closed to the general public, there were, situations where law enforcement and stuff had to bring animals in. So even on major holidays, we're still there for services that the city needs. And our mission, while short and really is distinct, is to end animal homelessness in New York City. It packs a punch, and it's really, really difficult because, like I said, we always have animals coming in. There's always needs. So while we may never, ever reach that end goal, that is the goal. We want to stop as many animals from being homeless in New York City as we can. And that is where our community comes in. So people like you are a big part of that. So I mentioned before that we take in all animals. That means we're an open admission shelter. That no matter what type of animal it is that comes through our doors, we take it in. Doesn't matter the medical or the behavioral condition. It doesn't matter what type of animal. We have taken in everything from tigers, which we did numerous years ago, goats. We've taken in deer, wallaby we took in not too long ago from Coney Island. So we take in everything. And we don't keep them in our shelter. We find appropriate placement for them, of course. We don't have really facilities for a tiger or a capuchin monkey. Has anyone ever seen the TV show Friends, the little monkey that was on Friends? We had one of those come into the shelter. And we have rescue partners that we work with throughout the country, over 350 of them, that we're able to, send these animals, these more exotic animals to, if they're not adoptable per se in New York City. Now, we work with limited admissions facilities, and that's our rescue groups, like I said, and they accept animals based on their resources and space. So they can turn around and say, sorry, we have no room here this week. We can't take anything in. And that's where ACC will come in and be able to take care of that.
Can I just interrupt you for 1 second?
Yes.
Anyone, somebody said that they were having trouble hearing Paul. Is anyone else having trouble hearing Paul? I haven't heard that from anyone else.
I hear him perfectly fine.
Okay. So Jackie, I think maybe you need to look, was it Jackie? I think who sent me the note. You might want to look at your computer. It could be the sound on your computer that needs to be raised. Okay, sorry. Just wanted to
That's
check.
all right. Thank you. But ACC is an open admission shelter, and the limited admission shelters and facilities in the city need to work together. Both need to be in cooperation with each other for the models to work together to be successful. And that is, like I said, we have these rescue partners. We work with them. A lot of groups pull from us animals to be placed through their foster systems and their adopters as well. So it really is a great model, and we're very successful with that. So we have locations all across the city. If you look at the map, there's 3 full service care centers. There's one in Manhattan on 110th Street. There's one in Brooklyn in East New York out on Linden Boulevard. And there's one in Staten Island on Veterans Road out in Charleston, Tottenville area. We're about as south in the state of New York as you can get without being in New Jersey. We can actually see the outer bridge from that facility. We also have a resource center in the Bronx on Fordham Road, East Fordham Road, which is only there for resources and to surrender animals if needed. And then we have our headquarters on Park Place down in by City Hall. There are no animals kept there. So those are our facilities as we speak today. But we're very, very excited. Coming in 2025, our brand new Bronx Animal Care Center will be opening up. So this is going to be a 50,000 square foot facility. We'll have space for approximately 70 dogs, 140 cats, 30 rabbits, and 20 other animals. So different species, guinea pigs, rats, you name it. If it comes in, we'll have space for it there. We just broke ground this last May. You'll see the photo up there. There's people from ACC, as well as the local community boards, as well as the commissioner of the Department of Health is in that photo, and Alex from the Mayor's Office for Animal Welfare. We were all there. We broke ground. It's going to be in the Parkchester Co-op City area of the Bronx. What I'm told, I'm not from the Bronx, so apologize, but the best landmark that I've been told to tell people, it's right next door to the Red Lobster that's in Co-op City, Parkchester. I was told people generally know where that.
That's not
No,
Parkchester.
No. It's not Parkchester.
No,
Department of Health keeps saying it's Co-op City is what I thought, correct?
you're right. Right.
Yeah. So Co-op, let's go with Co-op City. We keep telling the Department of Health it's not Parkchester. So it's Co-op City, but it's right next door to where that Red Lobster is. As you can see, it is a large building. There is these renderings that are there as well, so you'll see what it looks like. It will be our largest care center when it opens up. Our headquarters will actually move to the Bronx. So we'll be moving from Manhattan, our main facility, headquarter facility, to the Bronx Care Center as well. So ACC has made a huge investment in the Bronx, and the Bronx is a very important part of our plan moving forwards, even starting this year with outreach, things like that. So we're very excited about the Bronx Center. But in the meantime, in the first quarter of 2024, we are going to be opening up a brand new care center in Queens as well. So this facility is just under 50,000. It's like 49,800. So the Bronx one will be a little bigger, but this one is also going to be a brand new state-of-the-art care center. It's going to have a retractable roof that's going to allow a lot of natural light in. It has about the same capacity that the Bronx Care Center will. But this is what this one will look like. This one is in Ridgewood, Queens. So we're very excited about that. So once those two care centers come online, we will have 5 care centers, 1 in each borough. The Staten Island Care Center just opened last year, brand new building. We're opening a brand new adoption center in Manhattan in the first quarter of 2024 as well. And once the Queens Center opens up, our Brooklyn facility is going to close for about 18 months, and we're going to top to bottom put a second floor on it and renovate that facility. So animal welfare in New York City is being well funded by the city in terms of our facilities. So we are going to have a lot of really great opportunities for the animals and the staff and volunteers, as well as the community, to be able to come into ACC to find their next pet. Any questions so far? All right, we'll go to the next slide then.
No, it sounds terrific. Thank you.
All right, so how do we serve the community? We have, many different things that we do, and we're going to not go through every single one of these. But there are some we're going to touch on. So adoptions and placement, we're going to talk about a little. We're also going to talk a little about, fostering and volunteering in depth. But other things we do is we are there for admissions, so that if somebody does need to give up a pet, we are the place that they can turn. So we, as you may have heard, we are inundated right now with dogs, especially. We have about a 70% increase in dog population at this time this year over last year. So it is really, really high. So one of the things we do at ACC is we do surrender prevention, where if there is a way for us to be able to help someone keep that animal in the home that they know and love, we will do everything we can.
May I ask something?
Sure.
Where are you finding these dogs? These are dogs that are given to you. They're walking the streets. Where are they?
So some come in as owner surrenders, some come in as strays. So that's generally the balance between the two. They're about 50-50. For every stray that comes in, we get an owner surrender as well. With owner surrenders, we try to schedule it so that, people just don't show up at the door, if they can. Where strays, they come in when they come in. Obviously law enforcement will bring some in as well. And that goes under, surrender prevention as well, because if we know, let's say someone was arrested, the police can't leave the animal in the house, but we do try to work with them. We actually have social workers on our staff to help with the people that are incarcerated, to try to see when are they getting out. Is there a possibility to get this animal to someone in their family until they're back home, things like that. The last thing we want, like I said, we get 20,000 animals in. Any animal we can stop coming in the shelter, we want to do that.
Do you have
you know,
doctors who
we-
evaluate them before they come into the shelter?
So not before, but we do have a whole entire vet services team that works in the shelter. Veterinarians, licensed vet techs, vet assistants, all work on our staff. Now we do have some limited veterinary capability to be able to send an animal to get vet services if they need it outside of ACC's care,
Right.
rather than it be surrendered to us. We do have some granting capabilities.
Judith,
with
I'm
that.
going to jump in for 1 second because he's
Sure.
got a lot of slides and a lot of information he wants to tell us. So if you can just think about those questions, hold on to them, and we'll have a longer conversation at the end. I just he has a
Okay,
lot of slides
okay.
to go through. Thank you.
Thank you, Margie. So we also have a kids program we call it our community kids program, where children between the ages of 6 and 17 can come into our shelters, read to animals. We have a program called Draw Attention to Adoption, where the kids will draw a picture of the animal. Then we upload that with the profile for the adoptions, lots of different things like that. Our field services team, you may have seen the field services vans out and about in the community. Those are out there to help pick up injured animals or sick wildlife. We are not the stereotypical, like when you think about the dog catcher, that's not what we do. We're not out actively searching for animals. But when we get called, we are there to provide assistance. We're there with our field services team. So we had that building collapse last week in the Bronx. We had that huge fire in Queens last week. We respond to those as well to help with getting animals out of those those buildings and stuff like that, as well as reuniting. The building that collapsed, the 7-story building in the Bronx that partially collapsed, we were able to successfully reunite all the animals in that building, with the exception of one, which we know is still alive and in the building because people have seen it. So we are still working on getting that out. We send people there every day. We have a trap set up, but we're also putting food down to make sure that, the animal at least has food to get to it. We have a behavior team that has certified behavior specialists on it. So that when animals do come into the facility, we're able to do behavior assessments, and we're able to, find out as much as we can about the animal so that we can make proper adoptions and placement recommendations. And then on the, the financial side, we have a development team that works with fundraising and donations and things like that. And then volunteering and fostering. And like I said, we'll go a little more in depth into those. So how can you get involved? The biggest way, we tell anyone in the public, is adoption. So, if you have the capacity and you're looking to adopt, we are available. Our centers are open 7 days a week, but we also have mobile adoption events that are out and about in the community. The next 2 mobile adoption events that will be the closest to the Bronx are on February 4th and February 10th. So the one on the 4th is actually in the Bronx. It's going to be at the YMCA, sponsored by Council Member Farias on Castle Hill Avenue. And then on the 10th, we have one on 141st Street in Manhattan, being sponsored by Council Member Abreu. That
Can I ask something?
Sure.
Go
ahead.
I've been very active in the ASPCA. I'm older now, so I'm not doing it. But why aren't you advertising as much as the ASPCA? They're on my website all the time asking for money.
Judith,
why aren't you doing that?
Judith, I'm sorry, Judith,
ahead,
I'll
Margie.
answer that question, but I really need to implore you. We're going to write down those questions or think about them and we'll deal them at the end.
Okay.
It's really
I've
important.
also wrote it down just now too. I'll
Okay.
make sure I bring
Okay.
it back up.
Good. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, Judith. So adoption. So we have those events in the Bronx, but we also have, the full service care center and the adoption center in Manhattan on 110th Street between 1st and 2nd. And, we try to make it as easy as possible for people to adopt. So we run promotions at various times throughout the year. During Valentine's Day, we run a single and loving it, promotion for animals that can only be a single pet home. But one of the programs that, might be of interest to you all is, oops, let's go back. I didn't mean to do that. Is if you see up here, the Seniors for Seniors program. So we waive adoption fees for senior animals, that's animals 6 or over, for those that are 60 and over. So, they still get all their shots, they're spay-neutered before they leave, all that other stuff that we provide with adoptions, but we waive the adoption fees for seniors. So that's one thing. We also do, senior adoption months. We've done $5 adoptions, stuff like that. And no matter what the adoption fee is, we have all of our resources available to you. We have our behavior team available to you for consultation as well if needed. After, we give you a bunch of advice and tips on how to acclimate the animal into your home, and stuff like that. So, that is the biggest way, adoption. So we are always excited to have people who want to adopt animals. The next way to be involved with us is to become a volunteer. And we are always in need of volunteers. So we have, like I said, right now, 3 full service care centers. We're going to be going up to 4 in a couple of months. So we are always in need of people. And those people come from various backgrounds, different abilities, stuff like that. We have both in shelter opportunities as well as out of the shelter opportunities, and we're going to go through those in a moment. So some of the in-shelter opportunities are operational forces. So this is an introduction to animal care. And the operational forces position covers doing laundry, helping to clean kennels, cleaning equipment and dishes, maybe setting up the food trays to be fed, stuff like that. It's really the foundational work that every animal needs. As much as I try, I still can't get a cat litter box to clean, by the cat, and the dogs just won't do the laundry to clean their blankets. So we need to have our people come in and assist with that. And that's where people come in, and our volunteers are great in that regard. We have about 200 operational forces volunteers across the care center. And I'll be honest, we still have openings every single day that, we could put another 200 people in there and we would just still, fill it up. We also have adoption line client greeters. So those are the people that when you come to the care center, the smiling faces, they help manage the flow of people. They help adopters check in and direct them on how to do the applications and all that stuff. So if you're a people person and you don't mind, helping with logistical ends of things, that is an absolute way that could, be an assist as well. And once you, get the hang of being a volunteer in our care center, you can move into companion roles. So that's either cat, dogs, or guinea pigs, rabbits. And that's where you're going to provide socialization and enrichment, contact directly with the animals. You'll also provide, help the staff provide food and water at that point, as well as also you'll still help clean and feed, because that's always important, no matter who's doing it. Same thing with dog companions. These people help walk dogs. Now, I understand as we're getting older, larger dogs are not always the easiest thing to walk. I have a leg injury where I'm very difficult, where I can't walk super large dogs anymore. So I understand that. But we do have smaller dogs available as well in our care centers. Not a lot, but we do have some. But the biggest thing that both of these positions do is they assist our behavior team by being able to have you provide observation, that you see how an animal reacts, how it's stimulated on things, how it is responding to your talking to it or touch or play. And that's the stuff that helps us get information to help animals get adopted or placed with rescue groups. So super, super important in that regard. And then same thing with rabbits and guinea pigs. You're able to socialize and provide exercise for rabbits and guinea pigs, and you assist with the feeding, the cleaning, stuff like that. And then we also, again, because of the Bronx, we have a community pets program that is mainly in the Bronx and Queens. And this program provides a lot of really great resources to animal owners in all 5 boroughs, but they're located in the Bronx and Queens. So anyone can go from any of the boroughs, but it's located in the Bronx and Queens. And those are vaccine clinics and microchip clinics that we do. So we're always in need of people to assist with the logistics of it, the paperwork end of it, making sure people are in the lines, stuff like that. We also have pantry events where we give out food. People who need food. We have people, again, logistics. We do have opportunity. I don't think anyone here is a power lifter. I don't know if anybody wants to, lug 50-pound bags of dog food over their head. I know I don't. But that's always an opportunity as well. So if anyone has any really in shape kids or grandkids who want to roll and help us out, that's a perfect job. But those are, like I said, in the Bronx mostly and Queens. In 2022, and we're still formulating the end of our year number for 2023, we gave out over 100,000 pounds of food to residents of New York City. And we also did, like I said, the vaccine clinics through Community Pets. We also offer cat and behavior assistance. We offer some pet supplies through those events, leashes, harnesses, things like that. And the really big thing that this program provides is we help with pet-related tenant advocacy. So if you have a landlord that's, all of a sudden giving a hard time that you have a dog or a cat, and that animal's been there, you have legal rights to have that animal. So we have a team of lawyers that works with us to help provide assistance in those regards. And then we have also 2 different types of events out in the community where we're always looking for volunteers. The first are mobile adoption events. So those are the events where we bring animals out into the communities, usually in places that are not right near a care center or a place that has a need, or there's been a request by a community organization or elected official, stuff like that. So we're always in need of people to handle with the dogs, but working with clients, helping with the adoptions themselves. And we're, like I said, we're making a focus on the Bronx this year. So we're going to have a good amount of mobile adoption events throughout the year in the Bronx. Our tabling team as well are outreach workers who go to different community events to build awareness about ACC, to provide information on the resources that we have to recruit more adopters and volunteers and fosters and donors. And again, the outreach team is also making a focus on the Bronx this year. Last year, we did 7 events in the Bronx, and we started halfway through the year, kicking off the outreach team after the slowdown of the pandemic. But we already have 4 events lined up already this year that are about to be confirmed and put on the calendar for the Bronx. And our goal is to do anywhere between 15 and 20 events in the Bronx this year. So we will absolutely need people in the Bronx to help with those events. And if you're new to ACC, don't worry, we're going to teach you. You're going to attend events, we're going to have trainings, things like that. And that's what any of these roles. There's a lot of training. You're never just thrown to the wolves per se. You always are going to be trained and working with staff and other senior volunteers. Volunteering doesn't sound like it. You can't open your home for full-time to an animal. Well, there's still fostering opportunities. And fostering is really great because the reasons we place animals into foster care is sometimes their age and their weight. So babies, puppies, kittens, things like that. If they're too young to, be spayed and neutered, we can't adopt them out quite yet. We'll sometimes put them in a foster home until they get to the right weight and the right age. Sometimes moms will come in with their litter of kittens or puppies, and they can't be separate. They can't be separated yet because they're still nursing. So we'll put them in foster homes. Sometimes sickness, sometimes, an animal develops a cold, and, it's not easy to recuperate in a loud environment with a lot of things going on. Think about times that you might be under the weather. The last thing you want when you just want to just relax and chill out is having loud noises and people running in and out of the place and stuff like that. So we find that, for sickness and injury, to convalesce in a quieter, more peaceful foster home is definitely a benefit. And then also just sometimes animals, will be surrendered, especially with owner surrenders, and they come in, they get all these notes about how wonderful this animal is, but the shelter just stresses the heck out of these animals, and we're seeing a change. So we don't want to keep them in the shelter because we don't want anything to happen. We don't want them to get so stressed. We don't want a bite incident. We want to get these animals into their next place, whether it be a rescue group or a home. So we want to get them into a place where we could do that, and fostering is a great way to do that. So ACC provides temporary homes while we wait placement. Our foster opportunities can be as short as 2 weeks, and that's generally as short as it is, but sometimes it might be just a couple of days. But generally we ask for a 2-week commitment. We supply all the food, all the supplies you would need. You just supply the home and the feedback, okay? Any type of medical need that you have for that animal would be covered as well. You'd be provided, information on, foster medical needs. If there's an emergency without a call, doesn't matter, 3 o'clock in the morning, there's always going to be someone on available to take that call. So this is an excellent way for people to be involved. And I hear a lot from older adults saying, well, I don't know if I, want to take an animal in long term, because I don't know where I'm going to be in. Oops, sorry, my dog just wanted to be involved too. Where I'm going to be in 6 months or a year. And, this is a good way to have that companion in your home. You're able to enjoy the companionship and the friendship of an animal, even if it's on a short term. And then, what you're doing is you're really helping somebody else as well when you're helping that animal, because you're opening up a space in the shelter for us to be able to bring another animal in need into the shelter as well. To be a foster, all you have to do is attend an online orientation. They happen once a month for cats and dogs. Our guinea pig and rabbit foster orientation is actually on demand. All you have to do is go on our website and take it, and then you're put right onto the list of people who can foster guinea pigs and rabbits. So this is something that I just like to bring up because it's important. And I know there's a lot of thoughts about ACC, or misconceptions perhaps out there. ACC is very proud of the work that we do, and very proud of the work that we have done for years now in providing new homes for animals that come into our care. So I know people ask a lot of times, oh, is your shelter a no-kill shelter, or this, that, and the other thing? And we do meet that standard, absolutely 100%. 90% or better of our animals since 2018 have been placed. So we do meet that standard. So while we don't use the term no-kill, because we just don't think it comes from a great place, we do absolutely meet that standard, and we could if we wanted to use that. We don't describe any other animal agency as well as kill or no kill. They're just, our partners. So that is, just wanted to make sure everyone understood that. And that's something that if you've heard otherwise, we do not euthanize ever for time or space. It's just not true. We are there for the animals and to place them and get them into their next home as quickly and as soon as possible. All right. So where can you find out more information? Well, one, you can always email me. That is my cell number as well. You always can give me a call or text me. You can go to our website, which is nycacc.org. We have a Facebook page. We have an Instagram page. I don't know how active everyone is on this. I know you all love your TikTok videos, I'm sure. We have a TikTok account as well. We do not have an active Twitter account. We don't use Twitter, or X as it's called now. Well, we generally don't use that. And we are on LinkedIn as well, if anyone's on there. So you can find us in all of those places as well.
Okay.
Hello. I have a
Yes.
question. I have a question for you.
Judith, I'm sorry, we're gonna first go through the questions that people have been putting up on the chat, and then we'll come to your
Okay.
question, okay?
Okay,
Let me go
yeah.
through the people that have already put something in the chat, and then we'll open it up for everyone else. So the
So-
first one is,
Yep.
do you advocate for shutting down dog breeders in New York State?
So one of the things I do is I work with through my position the New York State Animal Protection Federation, and we absolutely have been a supporter of the ending puppy mills. So we have signed on board with that. The governor has signed that as well. So we absolutely are, for that.
Okay, the next is from me. How can
Oh.
we get a mobile event closer to this area in the Bronx? Because the one you mentioned is really not that close. Do we have to have like a council person sponsor it? Like, what do we need to do to
No.
get something like in Riverdale?
No, so in order to, so first step is to express interest. And as long as, so I'll be honest, right now, we have not opened up the second quarter or the summer months yet. We're still working on the winter months. So for the winter months, you do have to have a place where we can let dogs go inside to warm up as well as volunteers. During the rest of the year, we don't need that because the weather's fine. But the other thing you need to do is there has to be a place that is public facing that the adoption van can pull up to. The adoption van is 28 feet long and has to be able to open up onto the sidewalk. So that is another consideration that has to happen.
So if we have
So if it's
something, it might be discussed with the council person, what that place might be, and then contact you.
So yeah, I mean, so if you have a facility that you're able to do it there, we always could do it at a facility. It doesn't have to be through a council person. If you have a relationship sometimes with a police department, the precinct in your area, they will sometimes, assist, stuff like that. But who is the council member that is
Well, a council member in this area would be Dinowitz.
Dinowitz? So actually, Dinowitz is actually it reached out about possibly doing one.
Okay.
So I would say reach out to Councilmember Dinowitz's
Okay.
office and say, hey, maybe we could work together on doing this.
Okay.
Because I know that they have an interest in doing one.
Okay, cool. And then the last question is, do you offer free vaccinations?
So we do in limited places, again, those community pet clinics is one of them. So anyone who is a resident of New York City can attend those. And we will provide vaccinations for basic vaccinations, rabies, things like that. There's no charge.
Okay.
Yes.
So now that was online. Let me open it up. Who has questions?
So Judith did have the one question, which I'll start with, about how she sees a lot of stuff from the ASPCA and not so much from ACC. So I will tell you that the ASPCA has a marketing budget probably about the size of half of our entire operating budget at ACC. So that is one of the big reasons. So that is a big reason is being able to fund it. That is not included in our contract with the city. So anything that we do in that regard is stuff that we have to fundraise to be able to do or get grants. So that's one of the big things. So that's the answer there.
Let me give you one more question that I think is important that just came out. How do you volunteer for other things other than fostering? What is the process? So let's say you want to, work in one of the clinics or, at the shelter.
Yep. So you would reach out through us through our website. The next ones will not happen until probably late January. We're still processing through December's. We had a ton of people that signed up in December. So you go to an online orientation. So it's held on Zoom just like this. Once you go through the orientation takes about an hour. You'll then be and there's no obligation at that point. You just attend the orientation. After you attend the orientation, then you can actually put in an application to become a volunteer. We will then set up an interview. We do group interviews. We don't do one-on-ones. And as long as you're interested and we see there's a fit, you're then asked to come in and do training in the care center. It takes about a month overall to get the whole process done.
And we'll put up all this contact information in the newsletter so that people can have that as a follow-up. anything, because there are more questions now in the chat, but is there anyone who's not in the chat who has a question? Just, unmute yourself if you do. Okay. Then the next one is, do you do follow-up after people adopt to see that it's a good placement?
So we do follow-ups, and that's actually something that we actually have some of our senior volunteers, people that have been with us for a while, do. They call up, they say, hey, how's everything going? If they say everything's fine, great. If they do have any concerns or stuff like that, we will help provide resources, things like that. So yes, we do follow-ups. We also do, counseling in the moment before we even allow the animal to go. So if you come in and say, I want to adopt this dog, let's say Tony the dog, and Tony has a history of being, destructive in the home and has separation anxiety, and you tell us you live alone and you work 12 hours to 14 hours a day, we are going to tell you that's not going to be a match. Because what will happen is Tony will destroy your house and Tony will be back with us in a couple of months. So we try to match and fit people to the right animal in their homes.
I don't know that you would know the answer to this, but do pets get COVID?
So there are some studies that show that pets can get COVID. Generally, though, it is not a zoonotic disease, which means it cannot transmit from animals to humans. So if an animal gets COVID, it's a strain that generally is not transferable to a human.
Any other questions from anyone?
Yes.
Go ahead, Linda.
Yeah, I have a comment, just because I worked with the ASPCA way back in the 1990s, and I just want to let people know that the ASPCA used to have a contract with the city, and then they decided that, my understanding is that they wanted to be able to fundraise and not have to say that they do occasionally have to put down, let's say, a dangerous dog or something like that. So they limited the animals they would take in. And that's how so-called no-kill shelters usually operate. They don't take in every animal. And in a big city, every city needs a place like the CCC that will absolutely take in every animal and then make the appropriate decisions afterwards about the adoptability of an animal. And so I just very much support the CCC. Just wanted you to know that.
Thank you, Linda. And that's very true. Yes, we actually came about in 1995, and as Linda referred to it, it's a CCAC. We used to be the Center for Care and Control Animals. I don't even remember because it's not the name we use anymore. But that was the original name. And a couple of years back, we actually dropped control out of our name because, again, like I said, we don't go out and we don't do like pound type services. And the NYPD was actually put in charge of picking up stray animals and stuff like that. So that's why we're just animal care centers in New York City. So when the contract that we have now used to be the ASPCA's, and the ASPCA let the city know, I think it was in 1993, our contract is ending in 95, we're not going to renew. And that's how ACC came about. But yes, you're very right that, we take anything in and then we worry afterwards as, what do we do now? So that's, that's definitely it. And that, goes to the point I said before about how, we're very proud that, we're able to place as many animals as we are. Because we've developed our behavior teams and our adoptions and our surrender preventions and everything else. So we've done a really, nice job. And I'm not saying this because I work for ACC, but generally, as an outsider, if I was looking at it, is that, the conditions 20 years ago compared to now, is night and day. And, there's a lot of great things that are happening for animals in New York City.
Any other questions from anyone?
Yes, Laura Pucher here.
Hi, Laura.
Hi. A few years ago, huh? What did you say? A few years ago, I told some of my neighbors who are cat lovers that I was interested in having a cat, and they started sending me bios on different cats with different organizations. And honestly, it was so time consuming. They had these terrible application forms. I spent 40 years designing forms for a research unit. Believe me, I know what a good form is, and you couldn't even submit the thing when you finished it. Everything is so tied to a home visit. And I mean, I could certainly do a video chat to show people my home, but um everything about it was so time consuming. I just said, this is dumb. And then it also seemed like they were looking for people who would sign on to take care of a cat with diabetes and cancer and everything else. Excuse me, but I would love to have a cat or a small dog. But and I will do whatever annual visit is necessary. But if some vet, and let's face it, there are a lot of vets that tell you have to do this, the cat needs this, the dog needs this. I mean, I'm not up for that.
Laura,
When-
Paul, can you tell us about that? Because like I
Sure.
adopted a cat,
Yep.
right before the pandemic.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't go through any process like that. I mean, I
Yeah.
went through a process when I came there, but nothing.
Yep.
further.
So
who were you adopting from? Because I don't even remember these.
Well, let Paul answer for ACC because that's really what he.
So,
Yep.
so I will say this: there are definitely groups and organizations out there that have a lot more steps, and if that
Mhm.
works for their organization, fine. It may not work for some adopters like yourself, Laura. And so I'm going to say this: ACC believes in something called positive intent. If you show up at our shelter and say, "I'm looking to have an animal join my home," we're going to do everything we can for you to walk out that day with an animal, or at least signed up to take the animal. Maybe they need surgery for spay and neutering, stuff like that, but the animal is going to be yours. We have a very short form, which is generally your name, your information, how we get in touch with you, any animals you may have had, where are they now? If you own your home or if you rent, we do ask for a landlord, so we could just call up and say, hey, Laura wants to, get a cat. Is that okay? And that is generally it. I'm sorry, my dog is really not happy with me.
Sounds perfect.
That is generally what it is. And I know there are people. Yep. And there are people out there that, say, oh, well, you have to vet and, make sure that everybody who adopts isn't there for nefarious reasons. And yep, I'm sure there are people out there that, are not, let's just say, above board. We have not heard of that in our adoptions. So
Right, and I adopted from North Shore and it was the same thing. I just went there.
and North Shore is pretty easy to do it as well.
Yeah.
So you come to us, you want an animal, we're going to get you. We have enough of them. We'll find one that'll match you and your lifestyle.
Great. Yeah, I'm sold.
There you go.
Jackie, your hand is raised.
I have, can I say something?
Okay, Judith, and then Jackie.
Okay.
Sorry, Jackie.
Paul, I'm glad to hear what you're saying. I have to tell you, I'm a retired teacher, but about 8 or 9 years ago, I even forget the year, I went to the ASPCA, and I had to take a course. I had to go for a couple of months, if I remember correctly, and I had to. The people who came in had to sign an application form where they were evaluated, where they could match whether it was a cat or I only dealt with cats or dogs. And the reason I'm bringing this up is after I went through all of this training, when people came into the ASPCA and they looked in the cages and they wanted to adopt a cat, it didn't matter what color they corresponded to with their questionnaire. They pointed to someone and he said, "That's the one I want." And I thought it was just amazing that we all had to waste so much time trying to train ourselves to match people who are coming in with the pets that we had on inventory when they knew exactly what they wanted once they saw it.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things we do is, we tell people, yes, come on in, visit us, but look at our website beforehand. Look at the animals that are available. All of our animals are available within an hour of coming in and being put available for adoption on our website. If you download our app on your phone, they show up within 15 minutes, so even quicker. And we will have conversations though, like I said before, if somebody comes in and wants to adopt that dog Tony, but your lifestyle is going to be something that we're going to set that dog up for failure as well as your home. We're going to have conversations about that because again, we don't want to do that. And we might say, well, you know what, this dog Sally might be a better fit, who's a level 1 dog who kind of just likes to chill out and not really, eat through the couch. So that's what we'll do, but we're never going to tell somebody, you have to take hours and hours and hours and hours of courses.
I want to get to Jackie's question.
Yes.
Jackie, can you unmute yourself? Jackie, we're not hearing anything. Jackie, do you want to put your question in the chat? Because we can't hear you. Okay, well, Jackie's trying to figure out, I don't know where she's walking to. Does anybody else have a question?
Anything in New Hampshire to be referred to for an agency that's similar?
In New
No.
Hampshire, I could find out for you, no doubt. Where in New Hampshire do you know?
Dairy, Londonderry.
Derry?
All right, this is Judy.
No, wait,
I was
Judy,
on.
let me just
No,
try.
all right.
Wait, Jackie, can you speak or put it in the chat? Jackie, we can't hear you. Oh, go ahead, Jackie, go ahead. Jackie,
I just heard you.
Jackie, we heard you. Do you want to say? Jackie, can you do me a favor? We can't hear you. Could you put your question in the chat and then we'll get it answered that way?
Can I talk? This is Judy. Am I allowed to talk?
Yes, can I just finish let me just finish my sentence to Jackie. Jackie, if
All
you
right.
put your thing into the chat, we will go ahead and get it answered. We just can't hear you for some reason. Okay,
Judy, before we go to you, who is it that was asking about New Hampshire? I didn't catch the name.
Beverly, and I'm ready
Beverly.
at.
All right, Beverly, I'm going to have to research. I'll find out, and I'm going to send that to Margie. Is that okay?
Can I give you my chat, my email or my
Yeah,
telephone?
if you want to send it to me in the private in the chat, sure, that's great.
Thank you.
And I'll send it to you.
Thank
Yep.
you.
All right, sorry, go ahead.
Judith, go ahead.
Paul, this is Judy. I just want to know why I haven't heard about you in the past. I've sort of been, I haven't been active in the last couple of years, but why haven't I received any email about your organization?
So the first question would be, are you on our mailing list? So what you should do.
How would I have gotten on your mailing list?
So you have to sign up. So go to our website.
No,
NYC
I understand that. I mean, I'm willing to sign up, but ASPCA is all over the place. How
Yep.
come I haven't heard about you?
So I mentioned it
Is
before.
it a matter of budget?
Yeah, it's budget. It is.
Yeah.
But we have, and again, in this day and age, a lot of our information is through social media. So if you're not on social media, you don't see a lot of stuff. We do not do a lot of print media anymore. You won't see an advertisement for us in the New York Times, but you may see an article, that the Times has written about us. That happens. We have been in the last year featured on every single major news network or news channel in New York City. So I personally have been on 2, 4, 7, and 5. And
Well,
New York
that's also
1.
the point of this presentation,
Yeah.
is to do these kinds of presentations to get the word out, not only
Out.
about ACC, but as I said at the beginning, some other places as well. We also have a question from Patricia Dugan.
Dugan?
I'm saying it right. I do pick up that dog if you picked up. I do TNR and feed a colony of neutered spayed cats. Is there any place to bring homeless cats for TNR monthly in Riverdale?
So this is a problem across the entire city, is TNR.
Yes.
And again, I can hear just from your chuckling
Yeah.
that you are very well aware of that issue.
It's Dugan because there's two G's. Yeah, but anyway, I'm used to that.
Yeah, I mean, Riverdale is about the same as Far Rockaway for us.
Yeah.
And we have very hard time finding people to go out there. And the ASPCA doesn't send their trucks there
No.
either. The best thing to do is send me an email or send an email to communitycats@nycacc.org
What is it?
and ask this community cats.
At where?
nycacc.org.
Okay, and he asked the question in there.
Yeah, and you could say, hey, listen, I'm in Riverdale. What can we do? Are you TNR certified?
No, I'm not.
So that would be the first step, and that's what they're going to tell you. And that's through
Okay,
Neighborhood
so-
Cats.
yeah.
And anyone who wants to assist in TNR, that's the first thing you got to do is
Yeah,
get
because
certified.
my neighbor, like I take care of the bottom half of my block and she does the upper half with the cats. So she
Yep.
feeds a company and I feed one. Neither one of us is certified though, I can tell you that.
Yeah, it's a couple of hour course that's run by Neighborhood Cats, and it unlocks a bunch of stuff that different organizations will allow you to potentially get slots for
Right.
spay neuter
Who
services.
offers the certification?
Neighborhood Cats, it's called.
Neighborhood Cats.
Yep.
Thank
But
you.
if you send communitycats@nycacc.org, CC me on it as well, which is Paul Sanders at nycacc.org, and I'll make sure you get all the
Sorry,
information.
Paul, just give me the ending again. Sorry, because my pen was
nycacc.org.
nyc.org. Okay.
Yep.
Well,
All right,
Paul, can you
yeah.
do me a favor, even though we are going to post the PowerPoint and we are going to post the video
You want
on,
to go back to the?
can you go back to the slide that has,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
that wasn't it.
Hold on. Where is it? What did I do?
I think you go
I
backwards.
Yeah. Hold on. I
You
apologize.
got your
My-
picture, Paul.
There's me again. There you go.
There you go. If anyone
And
wants.
I
to take a
apologize,
picture of
my
that,
dog
they
is
can,
going
Cool.
crazy behind me.
but we'll put all of that into the newsletter also. so people-
Okay, great.
I think we lost Jackie, so.
Okay.
Does anybody else have any questions? We're almost at 2:00, so I want to be respectful of Paul's time because his boss is also away, so he's doing his boss's job.
I actually have another presentation at 2:00.
Okay. So Paul, thank you very much. If anybody else still has any questions, they can email me at info@rssny.org and I'll get that information to Paul. Paul, this was really great and we'll talk again.
Thank you. And Beverly, I got your message. I will get that over to you in the next day or so. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a
Thank
great day.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Thank you very much.
Paul.
Bye-bye.
Take that, bye.
Thank you.
No, I